Hello, 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 hello. How are you today? My name is Praise Forward. Welcome to PFthinks. And you know how we do it here. It's another day. We're grateful to God for giving us the gift of life, and we're just simply grateful. Thanking God for everything that He has done. Thank you so much for always joining me here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you for everything you've done and all you've been to us. Now, yesterday I started talking about superior relationship skills and how relationship is so critical to everything that we do. That without relationships, people won't go far. And how a lot of people have been truncated, have had their destiny truncated, and have their lives, stagnated by not mastering relationship. That people sometimes they are not aware of rules of engagement. I talked about the need for us to understand the rules of engagement everywhere we go. Yesterday I talked about territorial principle and how in your own territory you are king, and in another man's territory you are a subject. Then I talked about the three quadrants of every relationship, and I introduced it, and I promised you that maybe someday I'm going to teach it, which I'm going to commit myself to, right? That there are three quadrants of every relationship, which is the holies of holies, your outer court and the inner court, right? And how a lot of people have destroyed themselves by not understanding the different dimensions to these relationships, and having themselves, bringing talk where you're welcome and every other person joining me. How people have brought outer court people into their inner court, how they have brought inner court people into their holies of holies without understanding these rules of engagement. Now, there is something I'm going to start to share today. It's called the 8 rules of work. 8 rules of work. Now, I have a book on Amazon which you can get, if you have access to Amazon. It's called The 8 Rules of Work by Praise Forward. The book is not available in Nigeria. It's not in print in Nigeria, but it's on Amazon. So it means you can actually demand for it on Amazon and have it printed and sent to you, wherever you are, in any part of the world. Now, I began to teach about the tactical strategies for surviving at work, especially in the third world environment. Now, unknown to many people, in a third world environment, competence alone is not enough. Competence alone is not enough. The most frustrated workforce or people in the third world environment are competent people who depend on their competence for success. Now, ideally, in a normal environment, your competence should make you thrive. Your competence should make you stand before any king and make you indispensable. Unfortunately, in a third world environment has no respect for competence. While they love to use your competence, they also have low self-esteem at the level of leadership. So, in the workplace, your boss is not just your boss. In the third world environment, your boss is almost like a god that must be worshipped. I remember an encounter that happened to a sister of mine. I hope she joined this show so she'll remember this encounter. Now, she had gone to see a political leader, a leader in Nigeria. And, when she got in there, she just sat down. And when the leader came in, everybody knelt down to greet this leader. And, she just bent down to say, "Hey, good afternoon, ma." And she sat back. You will not believe that she was not allowed to see this political leader, who is a public servant, by the way, all through the day. She sat down because she had an appointment. She sat down, waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think towards evening, when nobody sent for her, she had to ask, "How come Madame is not seeing me?" And someone told her that Madame is upset with you because everybody knelt to greet Madame. I mean, this is a workplace. This is an office, right? That everybody then knelt down to greet Madame. You did not kneel down. You just bowed to greet Madame. Now she had to go home and had to find a way to book another appointment. The next appointment, she was able to kneel down to greet. And guess what? The woman saw her. Same thing that happened to me. I went to see one of the most powerful women in Nigeria, right? I won't mention her name. And when I got there, it was a meeting we're supposed to go for. As I sat back, I noticed everyone that went to see her knelt down to talk to her. Now, that is not my belief. I don't believe you needed to kneel down to anyone in life to talk to them because they are not gods. But because I understood territorial principle, I saw people older than me knelt down. I saw people very influential kneel down to greet this woman or to talk to this woman. When it was my turn, of course, she knew what I stood for. I got there and I knelt down. My corporate, assistant, my office, my executive assistant who went with me to that meeting was watching from afar, and she looked at me. She couldn't believe herself, So I knelt down, and the woman looked at me and she said, "No, praise. I don't mind if you can sit down." I said, "No, I'm comfortable," as I was kneeling down. So I finished with her. I needed to get a letter to about 2 different continents and get access to work with certain people in those continents. Guess what? She was willing to give me the letters that opened the door to those 2 continents. I mean, this is someone whose handwriting or a letter can literally open doors across the world. When I left her, my executive assistant looked at me and she said, PF, you surprised me. I would never have thought that you would kneel down. So I began to teach her that there's a territorial principle that I follow there, that even though I do not believe in kneeling down for anybody, that the moment I got there and I realized that there is some time of insecurity here, and the person we're going to meet, right, that she's someone that the password into her life is for people to kneel down, I will be stupid to stand up because I have the power to observe. A lot of us fail in life because we undermine our power of observation. If you open your eyes clearly, you will notice things that a seeing eyes and a hearing ears, Proverbs says, comes from the Lord. That a lot of us, our capacity to experience breakthrough is hampered by our inability to activate our eyes to see what is happening. Who is blind but my servant? That we want to insist on our own rule, even in another man's territory. It doesn't work, right? That you need to understand the rules of engagement. Now, there is a saying that, sometimes it may be wise to call a cow, brother, that to respect a cow so that you can eat meat, or else in your arrogance, you may end up just eating fish or eating nothing, right? Now, when it comes to, I'll start by talking about the upline. When it comes to the uplines are people who have authority over your life. Maybe your upline at work, especially this message is specifically tailored towards a third world economy, right? People working in a third world economy or second world economy, or you are working with someone who is insecure, who is a leader. Now, you need to understand that when you have an upline, your upline, the only question you need to answer is this: can your boss sleep well with you in charge of affairs? Can your boss sleep well with you in charge of affairs? A lot of bosses in third world economy do not delegate. You know why they don't delegate? Because they don't trust your ability to manage that access or to manage that role, because a lot of them, their esteem is tied to the role and they don't want anybody to take the shine away from them. Now, you need to understand that your upline, one, is the supervising chief of the king's territory. The king, who is the ultimate boss, maybe your CEO, did not just place your manager there for nothing. There was something he saw. Maybe if your CEO also has low self-esteem, he will most likely give you a manager who has low self-esteem, right? Because he cannot stand people who differ against him. Now, that's not a norm we should promote, right? As a boss, you should be secured enough to take contradictory opinions against what you stand for. I mean, my staff and my colleagues, they do that all the time. They stand against me, and that will force me to go and think and come up with better solutions. They are not figureheads. They are not stooges. They are not, foolish people. They are very wise and smart, right? So I've learned to bow down to their, bow to their opinion sometimes, but it doesn't work like that for every other boss. Now, your boss is the supervising chief of the king's territory. Your upline in this case may even be your mother-in-law. It may be your father-in-law. It may be your pastor. It may be your imam. It may be someone that you just look up to. Now, your boss has direct access to the king. You need to remember as a staff that you don't go for board meetings. It is your boss that goes for board meeting. Now, your fate can be determined at the board meeting, and your life can be saved at the board meeting. So your upline has direct access to the king. You can be working so hard as an intermediate staff, and your upline, your line manager who is doing your assessment, is saying something else to HR. Now, you will wonder, why have I not been promoted? You are praying every day. You need to understand that, yes, your promotion is the hand of God, but your promotion will come through a man. It will not come through God alone. There is always a link. So your upline has a direct access to the king. Now, I have taught a principle about power dynamics, which I think I will teach. I mean, there's a lot to teach you guys, right? About there are people, in the bedroom of the palace of the king. There are people in the corridors of power. There are people in the bedroom of power. There are people in the corridors of power, and there are people, at the entrance of power. All right, at the door of power. Now, you need to understand that people in the bedroom of power sometimes are powerful than people in the corridors of power. Unfortunately, the people most people see are the people in the corridors of power. The ministers, the commissioners, those ones are in the corridor. But guess what? The cleaner of the king, right, is oftentimes more powerful than the ministers, because a lot of ministers don't have access to the bedroom of power. But the cleaner or the cook has access to the bedroom of power. You need to understand those dynamics. Now, in this case, your upline, right, is Pamela, you're welcome. Your upline is your link to the palace. Now, in this case, you need to understand that a cleaner in the bedroom of power is more powerful in some cases than some ministers, right? That a cleaner, if you want to access the palace, may be your upline in the context of what I'm talking about. So the cleaner to the king or the cook to the king may be your upline in this case, right? So you cannot undermine him because he stays in the bedroom of power. He has access to information that you have no access to. The driver of the king is in the bedroom of power. There are discussions he has access to that a typical minister may not have access to. So sometimes people want breakthrough, but they don't even know to pursue, right? They are following the wrong man who also needs a link to the palace. Now, so in the workplace, you need to understand that your upline is the supervising king, chief of the king's territory. He has a direct access to the king. 3 is your link to the palace. You need to understand that, right? Which is why you cannot talk down people. Now, there are places I've entered in Nigeria that all I needed to do is to find out the link to the decision maker. In many cases, they are the gatekeepers, the secretary, the PAs, right? And usually I treat the PAs with courtesy, with respect, and I treat the PAs with gifts. Then you need to understand the gift preference of the person you are even trying to reach. Now, I'll give you an example. There's a powerful woman that invited me once to come and share a platform, right? And I shared the platform. Now, the moment I shared the platform, I took gifts along because that's the way my mentor taught me that when you are going to meet a king, take a gift along. So I bought things because I assumed that how much money can I give this person, that the money will be too small because this is someone who is one of the most powerful Nigerians. So I bought gifts, I took the gifts along, and I gave her the gift. Now, and by staying on a platform, she opened a lot of doors for me. So consistently, I will buy her a gift I'll buy her gifts and I'll send it to her. Apparently, the gifts were not getting to her, or maybe she didn't even like that kind of gift. So I had to call her PA to say, I noticed that this person stopped, opening her doors to me. And her PA said to me that it's because you don't send gifts. I said, but I sent gifts. She said, no, that's not the kind of gift she likes. So I asked the PA, what does she like? And the PA said to me, cash is what she likes. I said, really? Now, for the life of me, I just looked at myself. I was wondering, where will I see the kind of money that will impress this person? And guess what our PA said? Our PA said, any amount from 50K, right, will impress this person. Now, for the life of me, I would never have thought that 50K can open doors or can impress this person who, can actually punch a button and doors will open in different continents of the world. Now, the next time I had to go and meet her, now, this was someone on whose platform had made millions. Trust me. So I, packaged like 100K thereabout, and I took it along. As I got in there, I handed it over to her. I noticed the smile. Then it occurred to me that our love language is gift, right? So the moment I did that, Apia said to me later as I was going out, said, I told you. That is what she loves. Now, my mentor has told me that sometimes it's not even about the quality of the gift you are giving, but that it's about how you understand the protocol of the palace, because a gift puts you in the special place in the heart of the recipient, that every other person is coming to meet the king, but everyone is coming to grab. Nobody's thinking of what to give, because they always think that the king has all things. But a man who gives to the king is sending a signal that is actually on his way to becoming richer than the king, and that the king, the key gift will open doors for you. Now, if you read the rendition of Proverbs that says a man's gift make ways for him, actually the original word there is that bribe opens doors for you. Now, I am not saying go and be bribing. I'm just telling you what is written. Now, so you need to understand the palace protocol. Now that a lot of people, if you open your eyes, you will see what operates, what works in there. For the king you want to go and meet, for some kings, if you get to their office and you notice everyone is kneeling down or prostrating, if you stand or you just bend, the access will be closed to you forever. So you need to open your eyes and not insist on your own ways. In your own territory, you can do whatever you like. In their territory, you open your eyes. Whatever you see people do, do it so that you can get to where you need to get to. Now, your king, your upline is your link to the palace. Now, there are some uplines that will make demands of you of something you cannot give, that contradicts your values. Those ones you must learn how to manage their emotion. So, for example, if you're a lady and the guy, you know that the guy is very loose, right? And is going to ask you to sleep with him, immediately you need to convert him before he makes the first move. You need to quickly go and meet him and kneel down and say to him, sir, I've always wanted to meet you. I have never really had good mentors or good fathers, but can you please adopt me as your daughter, or adopt me as your mentee? In fact, if you say adopt me as your daughter, that's fantastic, because the moment you make the first move and appeal for daughtership or childhood, appeal for parenting from the person, the capacity of that person to begin to ask you for sex becomes lowered. And even if it now comes to ask you, you say, I am your daughter, sir. All the mentors I've met in my life, those are the kind of things they demand for. But you are an honorable person. I just want to be your favorite daughter. By saying that, you have managed that emotion, that he will not be the one protecting you. Now your upline is a field that is capable of producing for you if you have learned. Esther understand the story I just shared right now. Okay. She understands the story very well, so she knows what I'm talking about. Right now, Mary Englebert said something. He said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. I'll take that again. Mary Englebert says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. So that some of you are working with leaders you don't like, all you need to do is change the way you think about them. Which is why sometimes you see good people serve evil people and you are wondering why they have not resigned. See, if you understand the dynamics of power, you know that when power is in the hand of the evil man, right? And you are serving the evil man as a good man. You need to understand that there are about 5 steps to taking power from the evil man. Now, a lot of us are not even willing to engage. Whatever you are not willing to accommodate, you cannot influence. If you stand against evil, evil will stand against you, and evil can take you out because evil has power. But if you are serving evil, you need to understand in power dynamics that the first thing you need to do is to respect evil. Number 2, you will need to serve evil. Number 3, evil must trust you, right? Number 4, evil must begin to use you. Number 5, evil will now hand power over to you because you have passed the test of loyalty, you have passed the test of faithfulness. Evil will think that you are evil, and they will now give you power for them to perpetuate themselves. But the moment you have absolute power, then you can turn against evil because evil can no longer take you out. So, for example, if power is in the person that can make you president, for example, is an evil man. Everybody may hate him. You may need to serve him. If you go in opposition to him, you may never get into power. You need to understand this power dynamics. People have used that in Nigeria. If you can activate your eyes, you will see this work out consistently. Now, a lot of arrogant people will tell you, I cannot bow down. That is why they are not in power, right? You need to understand power dynamics. If power is not in your hand, you are an underdog, and you need to master the principle that can take you to power. Now, when you are working with upline or people ahead of you that you will need, right? It could be your mother-in-law, it could be anybody ahead of you, right? There are principles or palace protocol or rules of engagement that you must respect. Now, what must you do? It's called praise. Praise. P stands for praise your boss or praise that person. So when you call some people psychophancy is sometimes strategy. It says, I send you out as sheep among wolves. Now, how do you survive as sheep among wolves? If you have taken a documentary on wolves and sheep, you will understand that the favorite meal of every wolf is sheep. Now, yet God says, I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves. How do you survive when you are sheep in the midst of wolves? There's only one strategy. You must learn to disguise. Disguise is what some people call hypocrisy, right? They say, how can you be a holy man and you are serving an evil man? You see, they don't understand power. They don't understand what they're talking about. Don't listen to the crowd because by the time you get in power, they are the ones who will come around and run after you again. But if you don't pay the price, imagine Nehemiah in the Bible. Nehemiah's job was to taste wine. Now, how many religious people can take a job of wine tasting? They will tell you, no, the Bible says I must not take wine. But by staying in the palace, tasting wine, Nehemiah was able to get diplomatic immunity that helped him rebuild the wall. So you need to understand that you may not like his ways, but you need to praise him. It's a palace protocol when you are dealing with the upline. R in that praise is respect and respond to their intention. I taught you yesterday that whatever you respect, you attract, right? You need to respect your upline. You need to respond to their intention. So you need to consistently watch what is the intention of this person. What do they desire? For example, your mother-in-law, you need to find out and prioritize her intention. Acknowledge their inputs and impact when there is nothing. Even when there is nothing, acknowledge their inputs and impact. So, for example, if your boss puts you on a platform, right, or someone puts you on a platform, don't get there and brag and say, I came here by competence. No, somebody opened that door for you. You need to learn to acknowledge the inputs and impact of that person. If you are a downline and your colleagues come to the meeting and say, we know you are smarter than Oga, we know you do it better than Oga, we know it, blah, blah, blah. Shut them down. Tell them everything I'm learning were the things Oga taught me, right? You need to understand that. Now, I worked with someone that I was the one that prepared every of their speech. But you will never know that I was the one preparing their speech, right? You will never know, right? And I did not tell any of my colleagues, I'll prepare their slides, I'll prepare a lot of these things for these people. Now, so acknowledge their inputs and impacts, right? Even when there is none. When we say, you are the one doing it, no. It's what my guy is making available. Without my guy, I can't do any of these things. I interview, be indispensable to them, and interpret what they want to do, right? So go and learn from them to say, okay, what do you know? I want to learn from you. In fact, that is a classical way of knowing your assessment before it gets to HR. I work with the boss like that. He was a wicked boss. Everybody hated him. But I went to meet him. I said, sir, where you are is where my future lies. I want to be like you. Sir, can you observe me every week and tell me the areas I need to improve on? I will come every Friday. He said, no problem. I went for like 5 months. Every Friday, he told me what I needed to change, and I made a concerted effort to changing it. After 5 months, the man told me, Praise, you are now like me. You are very perfect. Every time it was time for assessment, he will give me my assessment and ask me to rate myself. The places I scored myself 7/10, the man will upgrade me to 9. After a while, he began to give my colleagues assessment to me to assess them, right? So you can actually know your assessment before it gets to HR. There is a way, a rules of engagement, a strategy to achieving that. I just taught you. Now, so the S in the praise is serve and solve and save their head. Solve their problem with speed and with smile. Solve their problem with speed and smile. Prioritize whatever they have as a problem. If you notice an area of deficiency, prioritize them. E, exceed their expectation. Always exceed the expectation of your upline. If it's your mother-in-law, if it's your power line manager, exceed their expectation. Whenever I'm given a task to do by anyone who is an authority figure, I go the extra mile. I over-deliver, which is why consistently any product I push in the market, I ensure that it's more than what I'm charging for it. Now, what must you not do? What must you not do? Now, access to power and access to power blocks will reveal the good, the bad, and the ugly. Number one, don't roast them. R stands for don't reveal their weaknesses and don't be rude. Many of us, right? You go over lunch with your colleagues and you are revealing the weakness of your boss. That my boss, hey, Oshomo, he loves women too much. It is not in your place. It's not everything you see in the palace that you say. In fact, my mother will say to me, it's not everything your eye sees that your mouth should say. There are things you must not say. My mother taught me that when an elder dies, if you open up their heart, you will find secrets that has never been said. There are things I know that you will never hear from my mouth. As a matter of fact, I can never share with anybody, no matter how close to me, because it's not meant for you. You don't need that information now. So don't reveal their weaknesses and don't be rude to your boss. No matter your intelligence, you need to understand that that intelligence can be cut off just by a call, right? So don't reveal their weaknesses and don't be rude, especially if you operate in a third world economy where an average leader is insecure and has low self-esteem. You need to understand this rule. Don't overshadow. In the rules, don't overshadow your upline. Don't overshadow. It's in the rules of power. Never outshine the master, right? Don't go and be bragging and say, wow, I know more than the boss. I know more than a lot of misguided young people who are passionate. Have gone on social media to say, they just abuse people who can open doors for them, right? In the name of, I have revelation. I was on a TV show, and there's one authority figure, one of the topmost in Nigeria, who has taught something that I don't agree with at all. And I was on a TV show and they put me on the line to contradict what he had said. And I had to trust God for wisdom right there on national TV because I knew they'll be watching in the palace. Right? So when they asked me, I simply said, well, that meeting was not supposed to be an open meeting. It was a family meeting, and every family has got their family tradition and family laws. And whatever anybody decides in their family is their business and their choice. So why is someone else's children complaining about what other people's children are not complaining about? That was what, as I left the TV station, a call came on my phone, and the CSO to the person called me, and he said, Praise, we are so proud of you because you had the chance to smoke us, but you did not do it, right? That sometimes you have the chance to smite the authority figure, right? Don't do it. Don't take it because you need those platforms and you need that doors open. So don't overshadow them. Don't argue and don't antagonize. You are in a meeting, your boss is yarning or pass or is talking rubbish, right? You can slip a note, or when they are going into error, and slip a note, right? And with smiles on your face and just pass it to your boss, right? And telling them, sir, this is what you need to say. Right? Sorry, it's saying that my space is low. So I was in a meeting and an authority got taught error. It was an international meeting. As she sat back, I whispered to her and say, Ma, that was a fantastic one. But ma, I noticed this and this and this and this, right? I know you can quickly, because The press will pick this information right now, right? You need to balance it during question and answer. So she said, no, but this is what I've taught and nobody has corrected me. So I quickly showed her on Google to say this is actually the accurate information. She held me and said, praise, thank you. Now when it was Q&A, she changed that information, right? And what happened next? When I was leaving, she gave me money in dollars to say, praise, thank you for saving my hair. All the people around me, they've been clapping for me every time I've made this statement. But thank you, you are the first person. Now, a lot of us think that authority figures don't want to be corrected. They want to be corrected, but there is a protocol to correcting them. Now, you can't come in arrogance or antagonize them. Don't sentence your boss. You know, I love the way Solomon puts it. Don't curse a king in the corner of your room, because the birds of the air can hear it and take it to him. Which means don't speak ill of authority figures even when they are not there, right? People can take the thing to them. People can come and meet you and say, what do you think about this person? And you tell them, right? They will take it to the person. Which is why if people come into your life through gossip, you need to be careful about such people, because they're going to drain you, right? Because they are going to go and tell someone else, right, about what they have come to ask you, a gossip that you mutually shared, right? So never ever sentence your boss, no matter the opportunity you have, until, right, don't treat them anyhow or don't deceive them, right? So that is the roast in the protocol of what you must not do. Don't lie to them, don't deceive them, right? And don't treat them anyhow, right? Because that they open their door means that you will see areas where you are more competent than them, where you are smarter than them. Don't take advantage of that. You need to understand that you are there to serve and they are there to recommend you. They are there to hand over power to you until your hand touches power. Please understand this protocol and don't let anybody talk you out of where you want to get to in life. Now, here are questions you need to answer. What is my current perception about my upline? Right? It's called, you see, there are two levels of people in life. You have the purist and you have the pragmatic. The purists are the ones who stand, we are principle-minded, we cannot change. The pragmatics are the ones who say, you know, whatever it takes, let us take it. But there's a third line, which is pragmatic puritanism, which is a combination of the two. Before Buhari came into power, Buhari was a purist, right? Tinubu was a pragmatist. But when the two of them came back together, they were able to take power. That's a sample of how these things work. I'm going to teach you someday on how to move beyond right and wrong to peace and progress, because a lot of people are missing out on power because they insist on right and wrong. Right? There are shades. If you observe the operation of God, God moves beyond right and wrong. God looks at the purpose and says, whatever must take us to this purpose is what we must do. Some other day I will teach you on that dynamics. But here are the question. What is my current perception about my upline? What does he or she appreciate? What will go through me to my boss or to my upline on a monthly, on a regular basis? How can I become a subject of discussion at my company's management meeting? Right? Gifts can solve that problem for you. Right? How can I predict my boss's assessment before it gets to HR, right? I've taught you how to do that. What does your MD have to say about you right now? And what does HR have to say about you? See, in any organization, always fraternize with the power blocks and with the influencers. You have no business. What I've realized in life is that poor people relate with poor people. When poor people don't need poor people need rich people, but they never befriend rich people, right? I have thought that someday, I have a lot to teach you guys. Always remind me. I'll teach you about energy and vibration. That if you want to go to a new country, right, your default mode will be my people, the people I know. But your people may be poor, right? If you go and hang out with them, your aspiration will be dampened, because they'll begin to tell you stories of how they did $10 per job, how things were tough, how they struggle, how things they have not even balanced, but they are just managing. They will dampen your morale. But if you ask a question, the people that make the highest money in this land, where are they? And you go and become their cleaner, right? You have more hope, because their vibration is high. They are going to move you in the direction of where they are. But if you stay with small people, they are going to dampen your vibration, that if you have been talking millions before, you will start talking thousands, right? That's how these things work. Guys, I think I've overstayed my welcome today. Tomorrow, we'll go into the dynamics of managing your downline. I hope you have learned something today. Thank you, everyone who has joined me. I hope you have learned something that you can practicalize almost immediately. These things work all the time. I have tested it. I'm very scientific in my approach. I'm not spooky. There are rules I have interfaced, tested, and I know they work. Right? Guys, go ahead, win against all odds in a third world country. There's no point ranting. There are protocol of the palace that you need to follow, and I know you will win. Thank you, everyone. I may not be able to mention your name, especially people who are joining us for the first time. Omolola Branko, Itoro, thank you for joining us. Chenwo Keshola, Jemia Digun, thank you. Esther, hey, my sister, thank you so much once again. Daniel Udom, Onyilola, thank you for joining from the US. Adebayo, Tokpe, how are you, Pastor T? Thank you very much. Everyone, Ijanawo, Adura Yemi, Pamela, please send me pepper soup. Daniel Asukwo, thank you. Eniyebo Blessing, Jerry, and everyone is going to watch this. Please, you have the power and the capacity to win. I have given you Palace Protocol today. Go and win, whether with your mother-in-law, with your father-in-law, with any authority figure over your life. You have what it takes to win. My name is Praise Forward. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.